when it's going to stop spinning. All right, we are live on Facebook, and now we're going to go live with our companion people on Instagram. And then, oh my gosh, this is going to be oh, I'm so excited. I have been excited for this for ages. I am so looking forward to talking to two of my favorite people in the whole wide world. And I'm hoping that we're going to get a good turnout here. And guys, as always, let me know where you're bringing in from. So many of you know, I recognize the names, and it's like, oh, yep, this state has arrived, this person has arrived. So I am hoping that's going to be the case here very soon. And I'm looking forward to talking to you. Okay, so many of you who have hung out with me before have had a chance to chat with our amazing Peggy Doviak, finance guru, and she is just amazing. She's just had so many great money tips for us, and I know she's going to have some to share with us today on how to get.
Too kind, Sheila. Thank you.
First one in, so I always know everything is working when my gang starts to show. Diane has arrived from New Jersey. Cindy is here from Washington. So yay! And I see some of my fabulous Insta people have joined us. So this is going to be wonderful. Hi Pam, and I see other names here that are one of them is new to me. So it's lovely to have you joining us today. So again, Peggy, our brilliant finance gal, and we're also very, very lucky to have Nancy Berland from Nancy Berland Public Relations. And Nancy is, I got to tell you, and I know Peggy and I agree on this, that if you got Nancy as a publicist, you bragged about it, because Nancy is the queen bee when it comes to this business. She's been in business a long time and Nancy, you've actually had 3 careers. I didn't realize you've been a journalist. She's been a journalist, and then she was a writer, and then she was a public relations expert. And so, Nancy, that's pretty amazing that you have done 3 careers.
Well, one led to the other, and they're all really related. So I'm happiest to be where I am now.
But it's lovely. And she is just, like I said, Nancy really has been a name in the business for years. And if you got Nancy, people go, you had Nancy Berland? I mean, we were talking about that, weren't we, Peggy? People are like,
they do.
Yeah.
You actually met her in person? Yeah. Yeah, I did.
The fun was representing you authors. I mean, these ladies are so much fun. If you get a chance to go see them, you have to do that.
We have a good time, I tell you. Oh, some more of our gang. I'm not going to keep saying hello, but I will to some of you who have just come in. I see Pamela's here. Texas arrived. Virginia. Nancy's here from Wisconsin. Carolyn. Debbie's made it from good old Zephyr Hills. Hi, you all. Thank you for joining us. And as usual, there will be a reward for those of you who are joining us and commenting live. Peggy has offered to give away one of her books. You want to tell us what you're going to be giving away here? We're going to draw.
Sure. I'm going to give away 52, like Vanna White, 52 Weeks to Fearless, which is my latest personal finance book, and it's for creatives. And you don't have to be a full-time artist or writer, because I talk about if you're trying to pursue this full-time, or if it's a side hustle, or just how to make it not be a hobby, because the IRS will like it a lot better if it's not a hobby. You'll like it a lot better too if it's not a hobby.
So do post, you guys. Again, with postage, this is a physical copy. If you are here in the U.S. and you're interested in receiving Peggy's book, would you please post so I can kind of try and keep an eye peeled? And especially if you haven't gotten a giftee before. Often, I mean, sometimes people are just lucky. We have one gal who's won 3 different times, but I would like to spread the good around. So be sure and post, hey, I'm interested, and I haven't won anything yet. Then that way we can kind of, don't tell anybody, we'll put your name on the drawing twice so that you maybe have a chance. But anyway, so we are going to be rewarding you for joining us today and talking about this whole thing of lucky. You know, I don't know about you, but sometimes I've heard of conversations and maybe even thought that myself. You know, look at someone who's really got their life together. They're doing well financially. They seem to have the perfect family. They have the perfect everything. Their career is zooming, you name it, and they're, boy, are they lucky. And I am just not sure I buy into that, because I really think that we make a lot of our own luck. And so we're going to talk about helping you all out there to make some of your own luck in different areas of your life, which is why we got Nancy kind of talking to the career end of things. Peggy's going to help you with maybe improving your finances. And I'm going to have some suggestions from how you can, instead of waiting for opportunity to knock, you can come out there and knock on opportunity's door. So that's the goal for today. And I'm going to start, first of all, I'm going to start with Peggy. So all of you who are wanting a little bit of money help, Peggy, is it just luck that some people end up with a lot of money, or how can you just on an everyday slow and steady wins the race? What can you do to improve your odds of doing well financially? And is it ever too late to start?
Okay, so I have to start with thanking you, Sheila, and thanking you, Nancy, for just literally being such bright North Stars for me in everything I do. Seriously, when Sheila was saying that when you work with Nancy, you're just lucky. And there you go, lucky. So, yes, actually, I have to say there's a little luck in it, but most of it's not luck. And if I was going to start out by giving everybody one piece of advice, and I'm going to talk about it specifically about money, I kind of think it's all of your life. And that is great is the enemy of good. So we get the idea when you're trying to become, we all hear about the millionaire next door, and then they're teachers and they had 2 kids and you cannot figure out how they did it. Part of what helps you succeed is if you don't feel overwhelmed. And when you think you have to do great, huge, giant things every single time, and maybe financially, or trying to control your weight, or trying to get in shape, you will totally overbite in what you're trying to get done. And then here's no surprise, it doesn't work. And then the second half of the no surprise is, and you give up. And so you start out with great, huge, giant plans, and when they don't work, you give up. So, yeah, I mean, are you going to be able to survive on saving $50 a year into something? No, you're not. We all know that. But when you get super overwhelmed, you can't do it either. Maybe you're thinking, oh, I should save $100 or $200 a month, and you just can't make it happen. So instead of trying to do that, you save $50 a month. And maybe you put half of it into an emergency fund so you can pay for that dishwasher when it breaks. And you put half of it into some kind of retirement account, either at work or an IRA, and you start. And then here's the secret. And here's where it isn't luck. It just becomes a pattern. Saving is a pattern. Spending is a pattern. When you can develop the habit of saving, that $50 will be a whole lot easier to make 60. Can become maybe 70, can maybe work to 100. But the trick is you quit being a spender and you start being a saver.
So a little bit of readjusting. And it's interesting. I love to listen to all kinds of different finance shows. And I was listening to one with call-in people, and the lady said, we just have bad luck with cars. And they said, no, you're just living life, and sometimes you can look and think, oh, this stuff is happening. Like I have bad luck with, and fill in the blank. It's just life. And like you said, if you've got an emergency fund, if you've got some money stacked away, then that broken dishwasher isn't necessarily bad luck or, oh, crud, it's an emergency. It's an inconvenience because
you have the money saved, and you don't have to start going into credit card debt paying for it.
And that's
a killer, guys. Oh my gosh. And credit cards. In fact, you guys, come April, I'm going to actually do something with Gerhardt where he's going to reveal some secrets about credit card companies and car companies and how sneaky they are with interest. It's not this simple little straightforward thing. They have a way of multiplying things. And all of a sudden you started out with just this 1 or 2 little charges, and pretty soon it's ballooned into this monster, that's going to gobble you up. And so I think that's one of the best things too. Maybe you're building up your emergency fund and you're trying to pay down some of those credit cards, Peggy. Isn't that a good thing to be doing?
Right.
So, and by the way, hi, we've got a whole bunch of new people that have come in. Hi, everyone. Just a reminder, do feel free to keep posting and commenting, asking questions. And if you have not yet won anything from our offerings, Peggy's going to be giving away one of her fabulous, in fact, her latest finance book. And you might, if you're commenting, just say, hey, haven't won anything yet. Oh, I really would like that book. That would be helpful. So be sure to feel free to comment and feel free to ask questions. But yeah, I think that's a really good thing to keep in mind is just slow and steady wins the race, because it's just a baby bite,
A baby bite. And those baby bites just get easier and easier to sustain.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And so with finances, again, even if you can put, most of us can somehow squeeze out, even for only $5 a week. We really can usually squeeze that out from somewhere, and probably even 10. And you know what I'm doing? I'm like a throwback to the 50s. Gerhardt does all the big high picture finances. I'm like, Peggy has promised to come and help me if he goes first, because I told her I'm going to have a complete meltdown if I have to do these finances. But what I'm doing, so I am a throwback to the 50s. I have my little household money account, my little grocery money account, but I want to start another, I want to get a mutual fund. I've got one on my own. I want to do one for us. And okay, next big chunk of money we get. Well, I'm thinking it's going to be a while before it's a big chunk of money. Maybe I need to start making some little chunks and make that into a big pile. So here's what I'm doing, you guys. And I don't know how you guys work with your personal finances, but I have my little amount I can spend each week for the household and the groceries. And each columns. And I've already gone ahead for several months in those columns. I've subtracted just a small amount for each little week. Oh, $25 here. Oh, I can take 25 out of the groceries. We can eat soup for a couple of weeks. A couple of days. Let's not say a couple of weeks. What am I thinking? But
that's a lot of soup.
Pre-planning where I'm going to kind of borrow that money from so I can invest that. And look at the hair color. I'm sure you're thinking, Sheila, at this point, why are you bothering? Because I feel like it's never too late, right? With whatever your goal is, it's never too late, right? Wouldn't you girls agree?
Oh, absolutely. Well, and that secret to saving the $10 a week, I take my lunch to work. But what I have to do, and so this is where it becomes a tip, you have to take something you'll eat. Okay, if I just grab 2 or 3 random things, like God forbid a granola bar and some yogurt, the likelihood that becomes lunch is somewhere around 5%. Because there's a great hamburger place right next door. So I pack a peanut butter sandwich, which I absolutely adore, and some chips, and a cookie. It's a 3rd grade lunch, maybe little orange slices. But if I pack food I like, I'll eat it. And so again, it's that great being the enemy of good. If lunch isn't good, I don't eat it. And that just defeats the whole purpose. And, in Oklahoma, decent lunch can easily be $15. So maybe I spend $7.50 on my lunch, right? I actually make a real lunch that costs a little bit of money. If I eat it, I've saved $7.50. I haven't saved 15, but I've saved $7.50. So if you're trying to make a budget change, make it in a way you'll actually look forward to it. I like to take soup, speaking of soup. And so soup and a peanut butter sandwich, if I've got something hot and peanut butter and something crunchy, I'll actually eat it. So that's the other half of that tip.
And be prepared. If there's nothing in the house or you haven't thought ahead, I think it was Dr. Phil once that talked about if you're dieting to make the house fail safe, don't have the temptation in the house. Conversely, have the affordable things and easy to get to in the house, So, hey, hi, Judy says, can't believe I made it. We're glad you made it. I see some more coming in. Thanks, guys. Now, don't forget to post if you're interested in Nancy's book. If you're here in the U.S., that's going to be a giveaway. And I have a sweepstakes to tell you about later, too. But, well, that's a little bit. We're going to move just for a minute into careers and talking with Nancy. And again, Nancy, tell us a little bit how your life evolved. You started in journalism. Then it's like, no, I want to be a novelist. And you wrote books. And then you went, do I really want to do this? So tell us a little bit how your career evolved. Because I think sometimes we think I'm stuck. This is all I can do. And you didn't do that. You said, oh, this is not working. Now I'm going to. So tell us a little bit about how that worked.
I actually got my degree in journalism. Wow. And I did it off and on, high school, college, and afterwards as a freelance feature writer and a columnist for the Daily Oklahoman. So that, and frankly, all promotion winds up coming basically back to what you do, and that's writing. You have to be able to write. So I started out as a journalist. I moved to Washington, D.C. I landed a job as PR director for a trade association. Then when my husband came back from Vietnam, we moved to away, and I decided at that point I would like to start trying to do freelance PR. So I did that. Then we moved to Oklahoma, and I said, you know, every journalist you will find has a dream of writing the great American novel. So I decided that I would try to do that. It's when I learned how hard what you do is. So I did. After it took me 2 years, and then I had 6 novels published. But I was asked by a dear friend, Jill Marie Landis, to be Janice Reams Hudson, to be the PR director for the National Romance Writers of America Conference in Hawaii that year. It just so happened the 2 big speakers were Debbie Maycumber and Jill Marie Landis. And just fortunately, because of my journalism background, we wound up landing a whole lot of media, and they both asked me to represent them. And I'm going, yeah, I think I can do that. And at the time, I thought I could continue writing novels. Let me tell you, once I got to doing that, I knew that's what I was meant to do. And I just didn't even look back, and launched my firm in 1995. So that's the story of how it works out. So I think one thing leads to another,
I love
and
that.
I get more of a kick out of helping authors achieve their dreams than I did actually being a novelist.
You have helped a lot of authors achieve their dreams. I got to say, I mean, Nancy has represented half the big name authors in women's fiction romance. She has really, a lot of us owe our careers to her. I know I do. So
I do too.
she's done a lot.
Well,
Yeah. And she represents Peggy also.
You all know that it takes work. And that's the thing, is work. And you're willing to do a huge share of that. Because to me, what I love to do is to have an author come to me, and I said, what is it you want to achieve? I have to know that first. What is it you want to achieve? And then I say, it's a process of getting to know what's different about that person and how that makes their novels different. Because when you're promoting it, you're not promoting just a book. You're promoting yourself. Because why should a reader buy your book? Because
I want them to. Oh.
Good.
Sorry. Carry on.
Well, that's it. And so it's a matter of packaging them. Sometimes I've had authors come to me, and really it was more a process of packaging them in terms of their website, their what message they gave, what kind of speaking engagements they could do, what they offered when they did book signings about relating to the readers. And then it was about the books itself. But the books obviously are the number one, but you have to know, if they learn who you are, they care about you, then they will buy your books. Okay. Assuming they're good.
No, I think that's one. That's what makes me think of another thing too, for those of us, and I think that might apply to across the board to different things, knowing who you are, whatever your career you've chosen. But of course, we're writers here, so we're going to use that as an example. Need to know who you are as a writer. We talk about branding. Every product ever created had its own look, its own brand, its own reputation. And I think for those of you who out there who might be starting the journey as a writer, it's important to ask yourself, well, who am I? What do I want to be known for? When I was first starting my writing career, I wanted to write all kinds of stuff. I'm going to write a Regency romance. Oh, I'm going to write a mystery. Well, a lot of you know the story of how that turned out. That was not a good idea. And, so you kind of have to figure out, who am I? Because it's very hard to market you if you don't know who you are. So you have to zero in on, what's my focus in this career? What's my focus in this job? What do I want to be known as? And then in the office, do I want to be known as the go-getter who will take on the extra work that can be relied on? Or am I known as the office slug? It's really important for us to define who we are in the arena we're in, because then it's a lot easier to build. Once you know who you are, then you can build on who you are. If you don't know, it's really hard to build. And especially with books, I know you guys as readers all know this, books get shelved in sections. You've got the fantasy and the romantasy and the women's fiction, and you've got the mystery and the cozies and you name it, and the literary, and that the readers who love that go to that section looking for that book. If you don't know who you are, where are they
Mhm.
going to shelve you and who's going to find you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And both of you have been such a delight to get to know. I mean, early in the days when we worked together, Sheila, you've always had that great sense of humor. And also the ability to write stories about multi-generations. You've always had a great ability to make setting come alive, dictating the story with the setting. I mean, so those are some of the fun things. Like even the fact that you have experience, or at least your family does, in real estate, really was a strong point too of how it created background for your stories.
Yeah, kind of the old write what you know thing. I had to laugh. You talked about all journalists wanting to write the great American novel. I feel like I'm just writing the great American potboiler. I just, same with, every author. I want to have that amazing book. I want to be the next Kristen Hanna, the next Mary Kay Andrews, fill in the blank who your author is you most admire. But Kristen Hanna did not get to be where she was instantly. Kristen Hanna evolved as an author and found her voice and realized the type of thing she wanted to write. She didn't start out that way, but she figured it out. This is who I am, as a writer. And I think that's very important. And it's the same if you're a musician, any other creative, if you're an artist, what is your brand? When people buy like if people are buying a Van Gogh, they expect a certain look. If you're buying a Renoir, you expect a certain look, and you don't want Renoir to go looking like somebody else because you want a Renoir. And so I think that's very important for us to figure out who we are. And whatever you walk in life, I know, again, we're speaking primarily here with finances and the writing business, but I feel like this often does apply across the board. Because even if you're going in for a job interview, how are you going to describe yourself? Who are you? Why should that person hire you? If
What
you
makes
don't
you
know,
different? What makes you special?
yeah,
And why should people work with you? Why should people hire you? And I think sometimes we feel funny doing that. It's like, because really what we're saying is what makes us good. And I think that it's really, really important to understand that you are good at things and that it's okay to say so. Now, maybe not every other minute to all the people you meet, but you should be able to have some confidence in who you are and what you are. And I do think that there is an awful lot of, we feel like we should be self-deprecating.
No, and it's like your mama told you not to brag about yourself, to talk about yourself. You need to talk about yourself.
You have to talk about yourself.
Because then that's just considered, we don't do that. Guys have
well,
no
and not to
problem.
make it related to gender, but when they've done studies, men have no issue talking about themselves.
Right.
So you as a woman, or if there's a guy listening, that's great. You've got this one already solved. But we as women have a tendency to not go into something with the same mindset. And we do need to break that just a little bit.
Right. I think that's a really good point. And the whole, again, I don't know if it's still the controversy that it once was, the whole trad wife versus the working woman. I think sometimes that's hard. Well, how do I define myself? And am I a success? If I'm just staying home and cooking. And of course, the influencers I see on Instagram, they already know, I'm doing something important here. So I think it's really important too to realize, and we do different things at different times in our lives. So right now, if you've got the little ones and you're building a home, that's plenty job. Don't feel like, well, doggone, I'm not, superwoman. Just, you have to be super at where you are and what you're doing.
That's right.
And Nancy said, Nancy, probably you were going through snow. It sounds like, I am so sorry. Ugh.
I'm sorry, what did you say? What? I'm sorry.
I'm seeing, I'm just seeing a few people posting about snow, but I also see a couple of people posting, yes, I struggle with this too. This whole, is it okay to talk about what I'm doing and to talk about my strengths, and
right.
As long as you don't come off like a conceited, it's okay to say, gosh, here's something I'm doing that I'm really proud of. Or here's something I can really bring to this job that I think you would appreciate.
Well,
it's like that's a different animal.
Peggy's mother had been a teacher, right, Peggy? And she had a
She's a college
retirement.
professor and then went to work as an international CPA for Carnegie Oil Company.
Okay. And she had a retirement account.
Mhm.
And from my
And
understanding,
and trusted my broker, who she said she wanted to make money, and so he put her in high-tech single stocks in March of 2000. And what you have was a woman who was just absolutely brilliant, much more suited to what I do than I am. But I got a little bit driven in it, and she got messed up, even though she's good at what you would think of as number things, but she didn't know the stock market.
That brings
and she
me to
asked
an,
me to do it.
I'm sorry, that brings me to an important point too. It's important to do your own research, not just blindly trust someone who's going to give you advice, but make sure you understand the advice they're giving to you. Make sure you do some research and don't get sucked into doing something you're uncomfortable with. Don't believe the once in a lifetime you're going to miss this opportunity. FOMO, hurry, hurry, hurry,
That's
throw your
right.
money at this, because those can be dangerous plans, wouldn't you say, Peggy?
Oh, absolutely. And today with the internet,
Oh,
it's actually very, very different than it was when she got taken advantage of. So you want to use good, objective websites. You want to go into analysis space. And I don't mean you've got to understand complicated financial stuff, but what you really always have to know when you're looking at information is who put it out? Was it put out by the people who are trying to sell you something? Or was it
yes.
put out by a third party? Something like a Morningstar. There's other data analysis tools out there, but Morningstar is nice because you can get lots and lots of free stuff on it.
Well, in the old ancient Greek saying, everyone does something with an eye to something else. And these days we call that a hidden agenda. And
Mhm.
so it's very important, like if you're being sold a certain insurance product, is that really going to be a good insurance product for you? Look and see, how does the payout really handled? Is this going to go up or down in value? And do you really need it? There's some point in life, like you don't even have kids or family, you're just young starting out. You probably only need enough money to pay for your burial services. You're a bazillionaire, if you have several $1,000,000, you're probably self-insured, and so it's really important to look and ask yourself, do I really need this? And also, that's another thing. It is so easy for those of you, I don't know how many of you out there are self-employed or doing your own little business. I can rationalize any expense, any reason. I mean, if it was up to me, I would be spending a lot more money than I spend on promoting my career. And I fortunately have a husband who says, wait, remember that thing called a budget? We have to stay in that. But it's very easy to think, I need to go out and buy. I need to buy this. I need to buy that. This is going to make my life better. This is going to make my home better, my family better, my career better, my health better. And maybe not. It's very important to be careful. Don't just go jumping over the cliff because somebody said, way over there is the next new fabulous thing. And you're going to be sorry if you don't invest money in it, right?
So what I tell people to do, and this works a couple of different ways. Number one, never buy an investment product the day you're in the office. Always take the information home. Make sure
Oh,
the
I like
person you're
that.
working with is a fiduciary, which means it's a legal obligation to act in your best interest.
Yeah.
But you can even take the whole don't buy it today. This is how I control my spending. If I go to a store and I've got something I need and I buy it, and on the way out, there's this amazing pair of shoes. And, my first inclination is, oh, I need those. I really need those. And it's an author expense because I need them for a book signing. So what I make myself do is walk out of the store without them. If I find something online, I make myself click out of it without saving it,
Oh,
without
wow.
sending it to myself as an email.
Oh,
Because if I don't remember what it is, I actually didn't need it.
Oh, I
sure.
love that. That
And
is
I
great.
think online shopping is the kiss of death. It used to be relatively easy to walk out of the store and then come back in a couple of days if you still want it. But you can almost eliminate impulse purchases, but it's a whole lot harder on Amazon.
Well, and Costco. Oh my goodness.
At
I didn't know
Costco.
dilettante chocolates were going to
And
disappear after
Sam's.
Christmas.
Yes.
Doggone.
Yes.
Sorry. I wish I'd bought some
And
more
it
of
doesn't
those.
mean you can't have it. Okay, so here's how you live on this. I'm not telling you can't buy almost anything you want. Be a little sensible, but almost anything you want. But what I am saying is don't buy it as an impulse purchase.
Yeah.
If you see it and you think you got to have it and you don't have to have it, walk away. I promise you the giant stack of chocolates will still be there in 2 days.
No, they won't. Not in Costco. I guess I think my waistline was not meant to have those, but that's another discussion. I love it. And don't buy ice cream. I'm sorry. Actually, it's so funny because Sally Marie Baker has posted a couple of times about her business as an ice cream truck. Been in the business for 20 plus years. And now I want ice cream. Oh my goodness, you planted that bug in my head. It's like, oh, get that out of there.
Okay, so you know how you buy your ice cream? You go to the store and you buy any ice cream you want rather than, okay, so our best ice cream, my opinion, our best ice cream store in Oklahoma is Brahms. A Brahms sundae is going to be what, $5, $6, $7 maybe. I don't know what, honestly, I don't know what it costs. But if you'll buy vanilla ice cream and chocolate syrup and whipped cream and cherries and whatever floats your boat at the grocery store, you can save half the money. I can't save your calories, but I can save your money.
Well, yeah, there you go. And you're right. And the do it at home thing is often the best way to go, especially, again, if you're on that budget and you're trying to put money away. You know,
or
now,
cocktails.
Again, Nancy, I want to circle back to you with authors. Because you've seen a lot of us in action. Do you feel like sometimes we have gotten suckered into spending more on promotion than we should? And what do you think sometimes drives that? What drives authors to go just a little overboard with, you name it, fill in the blank?
First of all, if it sounds like good, it sounds good. Number one, it sounds like, sometimes, well, we can do this for you. But at the same time, it's that, once again, it's that fear that you're not going to make it. So you try to do more.
Yeah.
And
you get panicked.
It's a panic. And I absolutely agree with you. You establish a budget. That's another thing when somebody comes to me, I say, what is your budget?
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you what I can do for your budget. And the author could do that for herself as well. And so you do some things at first, and then when you start to make some money, you can start doing a little bit more and a little bit more. So it's a matter of being reasonable.
Yeah. Grow your business carefully. It's never wise to grow your business on debt, because if you have problems, pretty soon the bank owns your business.
Right.
You've got to be going carefully and go slow and go carefully. And that, I don't care if that's a business or if that's your finance, what you're investing for your house. You know what? I laugh. We have become so, everything needs to be new. Everything needs to be fabulous. Oh my gosh, I can't buy that fixer upper. This needs a whole new kitchen. Does your stove and refrigerator work? I mean, not that you can't have a new kitchen, but save up for the kitchen. Don't be running out. If every influencer on social media told you needed a new kitchen, are they going to pay for it? So it's really important for us to not, our culture often tells us we need things we don't need. So I think it's really important not to necessarily listen to everything the culture is saying, because all of a sudden your life is getting a little on the unlucky side and your finances are a mess. Or why did I buy an entire set of living room furniture? Because it was there, and it's very easy to do. We all fall into that temptation at some point or other, so I think it's important to take, like Peggy said, you take a step back, because we can rationalize anything we do, whether it's good or bad, and then
I like what Peggy says too about paying yourself. About every month, to have your bank transfer a modest fund from the beginning to your savings every month. So you don't ever see it; it's gone.
Yeah,
and that is paying yourself, and it adds up, and you get used to it being gone.
Yeah, Nancy, this is kind of a curveball I'm throwing you because I didn't mention this earlier. But are there any things you've seen authors do that were small and affordable that work for them for promoting their business? And is there anything that person who's just, maybe it's a different kind of side business, they're trying to start a restaurant or whatever, are there some things you've seen people do that were affordable to just get themselves started?
Well, you have to know that there are certain things you have to start with. And one of them is building a reader e-list. It used to be print. Now it's an e-list. And you do that through a number of ways. But you started out, you have to have a website. That's your real estate that nobody else can take away from you. They can close Facebook, they can close Instagram, all these other platforms, but they can't take your website away from you. So you build your e-list on that, okay? But
well, that's good right there.
pardon?
That's good right there. Just having a website. You know,
Right.
we always think those are a little antiquated, but it's still a landing place for people.
Well, and
Right.
it's, you have to pay so much money to have it designed, unless like Peggy, who is so smart, she designed her own for the first time, right?
I did, but I've given up on that, and I have a
Because
service.
you
But
make money doing other things.
But
Right.
I would also say that if you are kind of clever and crafty, and one way to figure out what your website needs to look like is look at other people's websites. Go to your favorite authors, go to your favorite financial firms, go to your favorite restaurants, food trucks. Look at their sites, see what they do right, see what they do wrong. We're really good at judging other people's stuff. And so
Right.
sometimes you can see where it's really cool, but it would be a whole lot better if you did this. And then you can, if the money is incredibly tight. Yeah, I did my own website. When I opened my financial firm, I didn't have any clients. And so I was just literally in the hole from the beginning and was doing as much myself as I could. And so I did everything myself for probably the first 5 years.
Well,
I
one
love
thing,
that.
in answer to your question that Peggy has done, is that whatever it is that you have in your background that helps make a good speech, is you put that together and promote it on your website.
Yeah.
But book the speaking engagements, call the local library, ask if you offer to give a free seminar, and that all that you want to do is to be able to sell your book. Some libraries won't let you, some will. Do speaking engagements, call local book clubs. You can find those on the internet. Just Google book club in your town. Call women's clubs and offer to give a speech. And then Peggy doing one on financial planning. I mean, that's really a very strong way for her. And we call it back of the room book sales.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, this is so basic. You have them join your reader list, filling out a little piece of paper. And so you gradually start building that reader list. At the first, you're happy when you get 100, and then you're happy when you get 1,000. And then you start communicating with people with a digital e-letter, and entertaining them in that.
Yeah.
So these are basic things that everybody can do that will help you build your career.
And don't be afraid to post on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, that's a fun way to find people who might be interested in your business, whether you are selling
Right.
homemade cupcakes or, you want to get people following you for your recipes. I mean, it's a great way. And again, that doesn't cost you anything to go on there and talk about what it is you're doing. And don't be afraid to talk about what you're doing. We mentioned that earlier. It's all right to say, hey, I've got this great recipe. I've got this great book. I've got this great new song. Fill in the blank. I have to laugh. Jody was posting about, you don't have to go out and buy everything new. And she said, our refrigerator was used. Sister-in-law didn't want it anymore years ago, really old. And we just got a used refrigerator from a friend that was moving, couldn't take it. And when they moved, we got it. We got a really good deal. And sometimes, I mean, garage sales are our friends, guys, if you're on budgets. I love garage sales. They're so much fun. Again, budget yourself, because you could go berserk spending fun things at garage sales. But anyway, so again, I hope you guys are getting the overall picture of whatever our aspect of our life, that luck, and you look at people, they're really successful, and they weren't necessarily lucky to get there. They worked hard. They studied what they needed to do to get there, and they worked. They didn't just sit around going, oh, where are the pennies from heaven? You have to go out and dig your own pennies. Nobody wants pennies now anymore, but Oh, Cindy's like, sounds scary for an introvert. But yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
you know what?
Cindy,
It's
can
not
I?
scary to post something written. I'll post a picture on Instagram because
Well, and
nobody's going to
Cindy, it doesn't have to actually be your picture. I put a picture of daffodils in my front yard in my last newsletter. Now, you might have figured out I'm not an introvert, but I have a ton of friends
Oh,
who
really?
are. You can post pictures of a pet. Everybody loves. In fact, I had to form a TikTok page with cats that gave financial advice. Sheila doesn't like my talking cats, but I like my talking cats because nobody would click on my financial posts, but everybody posts, everybody clicked on my cat posts, and lots of people like cats who give financial advice. So it doesn't have to be personal. And it is sort of a version of you as well. You can sort of, what is your persona that goes along with it? Don't lie to people. But if you don't want to be personal, don't be. You absolutely don't have to do that.
Nobody needs to know you how to fight with your other half. I mean, and nobody needs to know that you gained 5 pounds eating the doggone dilettante chocolate before Costco started carrying it. There's some things everybody doesn't need to know. Oh, now you know. Oh, anyway. We have a question that came in for Peggy from Jody. She said, do you have a website or a book out about finances? Well, yes, she does.
For
She
a
wants to
child.
know,
Jody, it's the next one. It's
she wants to know
not
about how to
written
learn to
yet.
invest. Did you get that?
How old is your daughter?
Okay, my daughter wants to learn how. Yeah, let us know what your daughter's age is. Well, we all want to learn how to invest. But there are also
Because I do have the first one, which is 52 Weeks to Prosperity. And if she is a older teenager, then that would actually work well for her. It's the prosperity book, not the well-being. Oh yeah, 52. She's 39. I'm sorry. So yes, 52 Weeks to Prosperity or 52 Weeks to Well-being, because that one's written for women. But I would encourage her to look at the table of contents of both, because I think if you want a good, solid, basic book, it's 52 Weeks to Prosperity.
and that
And
is a
you
good
need to
book.
buy the paper one because the ebook isn't updated. So buy the paper book, but it's better in paper anyway because you can write in it.
And you
I
can
had that book when I started my business. Oh, there's so much valuable information in that.
Yeah. And that's on your website, right? Is it peggydoviak.com? What's your website?
PeggyDoviak.com.
Yeah. And Nancy, your website.
Yes, it's nancyberland.com. Easy.
There you go. So there you go. And these ladies, they are experts at what they do. And if you're looking for someone in that field to help you, that is a good thing. And I want to close with just a couple thoughts. Again, the whole getting lucky, getting out there. How do you increase your chances of success in whatever endeavor you're working on? And part of that really does have to do with networking. You attend conferences, you attend seminars, you meet people who can help you learn. And I think it's really important. Oh, go back to school too. Maybe it's time to go back to school and take a couple of refresher courses or classes if you wanted to learn more about something. It's never too late. I just feel like I can't stress that enough, that it is never too late to plan for that dream vacation, to build that dream house if you're saving up for it, to start that second career, fill in the blank. If you're still here, there is still very possibly, unless you're 942, then it's still very possible for you to get out there and make your dreams come true. And even at my age, part of me is like, oh, Sheila, why are you trying to do any more investing now? Because I'm still here. And something will be better than nothing, and I want to get my mutual funds going for my husband and myself, because that's going to double in value every 7 years. I could still be here in 7 years. It would be nice to have a little more money in the piggy bank. So don't ever get in that mentality of, I can't do it, it's too late. And again, whatever your personality, and if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm an introvert, I can't do this, there's still things you can do even as an introvert. You extroverts, I'm not worried about you guys, because you'll just get out there and drive everybody nuts like I do. But it's never too late, it's never too hard. So just don't give up on your dreams and on making things happen. And I hope you guys, this has been helpful for you. Again, if you were interested in receiving Peggy's book, We'll be drawing a name later tonight, probably announce it tomorrow. And also, I am part of a sweepstakes with all kinds of your favorite, just amazing writers. And we're doing a spring fling sweepstakes. I don't think it's going to go long. For those of you on Instagram, if you're following me, and if you're not, why aren't you? Anyway, if you're following me on Instagram, you'll also see the post on that you can, it has the link in my bio. Or if any of these other authors, you can go and put your name in the drawing to win that. And again, you know, the funny old saying, you can't win if you don't play. Oh, Nancy, I love it. Nancy is giving us promotion. Yeah, and I'm probably
Gotta get them both, ladies.
I'm probably going
And the
to
guys who are there too.
sweepstakes next month. We're going to do something special too for those of you who are pre-ordering Love on the Shelf. So we got lots of good stuff coming up. Be sure and hang with us, follow us, and I hope you all have a great day tomorrow. By the way, Instagram people, I try and do it for my Facebook gang too, but we are going to be posting. I'm hoping to make my fabulous Irish parsnip soup tomorrow, and so if I get that done, I'll post that for you. It is the best soup ever. It is so good. Anyway, but that's it. Happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. And thank you again. I just appreciate you all taking time to join us today. I know you have things that you could be doing and you chose to be with us. And we really, really appreciate that. So have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. I thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sheila. We really, really enjoy being here today.